we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Welcome in, fellow viewers and listeners. Thanks for all your continued support on this program. This is Discussion Combustion, episode 300, part 2. We decided to do it in two parts. We had Mike Patchin scheduled in, which would have been $2.99, but he brought us these awesome 300 balloons on that episode, and so we decided to go with a part 1, part 2. You know, part 1 was a lot of fun.
It was.
I love pushing the envelope on some issues, and, you know, thanks to you two for being a great partner and working with us on that episode and allowing people to view it and having all the fun with it, man, because 300 of these, Art, we've done it for 6.5 years.
Episode 300. I am super excited, and I'm feeling cool. So that's why I'm wearing the shades right now.
I busted out my special shirt for
dude,
this app.
That is a premiere. It's
This
a
is
premiere.
Yeah.
It's looking good, man. You're looking good over there.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
You know, I
got my New England Dragway hat on.
Dragway, you know, where the rubber gets burned.
Yeah, we were just talking about burning rubber.
We were talking about burning rubber. But it is pretty remarkable, man. When you approached me 6.5 years ago and you asked me, hey, we should start a podcast together. I was in a creative slump back then, and I was actually a little depressed because I hadn't been creating. You know, I used to do music all the time, and when you have that creative itch and you're not fulfilling your like need and your purpose, then you get depressed.
It's true.
And so I was kind of like, I didn't know what a podcast was, and it sounded like fun, but I had no idea what it would lead to. And then all the things that happened between then till 300, all the stuff that happened in between.
It's been a ride.
It's been wild.
It's been a big ride. I was thinking about it on the drive to the studio today of kind of what we were going to talk about. Because, you know, when I'm out in the marketplace or I'm talking to people in the streets, like, well, what are you guys going to talk about on this episode? And it's like, DCPC is more than just Arthur and I. It is turned into a community program, right? It's I don't want to say it's a business. I mean, it is a business, but DCPC,
Known by some
as Schween. DCPC, the People's Podcast. There's the PP.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Smooth.
Yeah, the People's Podcast is the PP part. Has turned into a community. You know, it's a place where people come and share stories, promote things, talk about things that maybe are a little bit off the rails, unconventional, if you will. And then the next unscripted. I mean, next week we have, I guess we can tease it, we got Brant Tobler returning, who is featured on Comedy Central. He's a local Denver comedy legend. Looking forward to catching up with him for 301. But, you know, going back to 2019, February 27th, 2019 was our first episode. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. You know, we recorded it in your old apartment. It sounded absolutely horrible.
Off the cell phone.
It was like an hour and 20-minute conversation, though. We knew we had something that just had to get dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, because the first few, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we were figuring it out, and it was kind of just hanging out, talking for a little bit. It did take the investment. Like, we had to believe in ourselves enough to show up every week. To make an investment and actually, like, you know, then once we got into Jamie's basement, that's when it got serious. That was like episode 3 or 4.
Yeah,
that happened pretty quickly.
And we were recording it kind of like on his software and using kind of his stuff, and then we moved it into like a studio format down there where the band used to play.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny at first because, you know, Art and Kev started a podcast, and we got a big friend group, and so everybody would come hang out at Jamie's house
while we were recording.
Yeah, and like at first it was cool.
It was a party.
But then it turned into, like, you know, we started to come up with a mission statement. And if you're new to the Discussion Combustion, that is to be critical, so we can ask difficult questions, accepting because we don't corner our guests,
right,
and also loving because we want to show that we can love even while having a different perspective than other people. So critical, accepting, and loving, a place where we could talk to anybody. Anyone can have a voice on Discussion Combustion. If you want the world to hear your message, we are the vessel. And then once we did that, it like started to become bigger.
It took shape
than ourselves.
Yeah, it took shape. That's when we kind of started coming up with the logo and the branding, you know, that super old logo of the black and white photo of you and I that we still have here in the studio. The viewers can't see it, but you know, it was around that time is when we met Mike Patchin. You know, I know a lot of folks tuned into that episode and turned it off because it was a little bit too much information for them to handle, or it was a different perspective that didn't align with theirs, and that's difficult for people to take in. But what I can say is Mike Patchin is single-handedly one of the greatest entrepreneurs, friends, go-getters, and humble people I've ever been around. And he took a risk on us in 2019 and put his company's sponsorship behind us.
He did.
When he was with Mountain Made CBD, and that was our first real big sponsor, right? And so then it became a business, and then everything started to click. But Patchin, you know, just to piggyback off 300 Part 1, he's been with us a long time.
He has. And like I don't think I've ever 100% agreed with everything he says, but that's the beauty of it.
Do you agree with 100% of everything I say?
Absolutely not.
No. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and that's also like, you know, getting back to the roots of being able to just have a conversation. You don't have to completely agree with people to respect them.
Correct.
You know, but one thing that is interesting is you have to like learn to not react to getting disrespected as well, because it's easy to react if somebody is approaching you in a certain way, or like they're trying to get at you. So to stay centered, the podcast taught me so much about interacting with people. And one area I used to be extremely weak, and I probably still need to improve on, is actually critically listening and not interrupting. Because in the earlier podcast, I would be cutting people short. I had something to say. I was excited to say it.
If you listen to any podcast, really, you can find hosts that do the same thing. You know, I watch a lot of shows where it's like, God, let this guy talk. You know, he's your guest and stuff like that. So some hosts do it differently. You know, I guess there's an etiquette to it. I mean, if someone's telling their story or whatever, there's a lot of times where we get a guest that's very talkative over here, and I'm just enjoying sitting over there listening to what they have to say. You know, like
that's how I feel right now.
Yeah, like I don't. It's for a while. I don't want to say we ever played characters because we didn't, but like it was like this persona of like we got to drink beer, and or at least for me, you know, party podcast.
Well, for me, it was escaping the toxicity of my day-to-day life, and it was like a midweek break, and so I was taking full advantage of that in an unhealthy way.
Yeah,
I would say.
I mean, we were both going through different obstacles in life then, for sure, and so this was a great project. You know, for us to still be on at 300 is just incredible. You know, I remember when we were at, like, we hit like 20, 25. We're like, we're doing it. 50. 50 was crazy because 49, if you remember, was the last one we recorded in Jamie's basement before lockdown.
Okay.
And so we went like 9 weeks.
I thought it was 7.
Was it 7 weeks?
Yeah.
7 weeks. We went, and then we came back for episode 50.
Kevin always adding a couple, 1 or 2 extra bats stuff.
Hey, you know. If you're in sales, you know.
I'm fucking with you.
You know, you gotta tell a fish story sometimes. But so yeah, it's only 50, and then we hit 100, which we all know is that
was a fun night.
Not my more proud work throughout the years.
Hey, man, you were just having some celebration drinks.
Yeah, if anybody wants to laugh at how bad of a drunk I used to be, go back and watch episode 100. Fast forward to the end when I'm like falling out of the chair. That's amazing. I was even able to interview people by the end of it.
I was.
You were kind of holding it together at that point. I couldn't even get out of the chair.
I had us going. I had us locked in.
But you know, and so then we keep going. We go through the 100 series, which we moved into Bruce, as we called our old studio.
Yeah.
Which had some tremendous moments there. That's where HFA was born, and we did 200 live, and then we did a 200 series here. And then we're at 300. So I'm excited to see what 300 and beyond has. I think that the stars are aligning with some stuff that we can't announce yet. Yeah. But there's some good things coming.
Yeah, we're going to keep unlocking the magic. And I feel like one thing that podcasting did for me, you already know this intimately, but I'll share it again, was, you know, I feel like the accountability is showing up weekly, and I always wanted to help motivate people, and it helped me get off of opiates. And I did lie for a consecutive almost a year saying how I wasn't doing them and this and that. And
but you were making improvements like Y Bizzle was saying, right?
Yeah, like I was making small wins.
You weren't like bomb.com like you were. No.
Yeah, and I used to come in bombed on some episodes, and you could even hear my raspy-ass voice. And like,
you probably don't like listening to those.
Oh, no, I don't. I will never listen to one of those episodes.
It's a reminder, though, of where we've been.
It is. And like, so the podcasting like kind of saved me. It gave me some purpose, some worth, and then it to be authentic, like I had to hold myself accountable, and so I fessed up. I forget which episode it was, and I like told everyone that happens to listen and care enough to know our story, and I was like, look, I lied for the last year, but like I'm truly off this shit, and like, you know, I'm celebrating 4.5 years. So I did it like for the first 2 years of the project.
Yeah, I remember.
And was like working my way out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4.5 years off of that, man. Like I don't know if I would have taken the same path and the same journey. It's hard to say, but I do know that on this current path, the podcast was a major contributor to keeping me accountable. I wanted to show up and look clean for the episode because we went video, right? So it wasn't just audio.
Yeah,
and so I wanted to like, present myself, and my best version was not Arthur on opiates. So like I have to like give an applause to the project for like helping motivate me.
Well, yeah.
To get off that shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, because it's true. We could have both just really not cared about ourselves and just it turned into a disaster on air. But there is a sense of accountability to, number one, show up consistent quality content like we talked about. The consistency piece is tough, though, because it's easy to want to not do it sometimes. You know? We've both felt that throughout this program. I can't remember what our last solo was, but it was kind of where I launched the grit movement.
It's been a minute since we've had a solo.
Has it been since the grit movement, our last solo?
I haven't, dude. Everything's so happy.
I think it might have been.
It's just a lot happening.
It might have been because things have been really busy, but yeah, it's not often that we get a chance to just be on an open mic. Like there's no guest tonight.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. I mean, we do Happy Friday, but that's
scripted. That's a little bit. It's scripted, but not scripted.
Yeah.
So like for people that haven't tuned into that show, if you're just listening on, don't follow us on YouTube. Happy Friday is it's a fun Friday morning. It's news-ish. Right, because we do articles, but it's not mainstream news. Like it's silly, off the rail, lightning round stuff. We have random records. We have Would You Rathers, which was inspired from this program, by the way.
Yeah, because we always used to do a Would You Rather.
But I run into some folks that listen to DCPC and have for a long time. Like, what's this Happy Friday all about? And it's a great program, so I would encourage folks to check it out if they haven't.
Yeah, and it's cool to be a part of that project, and it's really opened up a lot of doors. And I just feel pretty humbled that people want to share their time, which we both know is the most valuable commodity.
It's the greatest gift you can give someone to give their time.
And yeah, man, people are, wanting to sit across the couch from us.
It's a great honor. That deserves a toothpick.
It is a great honor, and an angel just got its wings right then and there.
It's a long-running joke with me and the toothpicks. Toothpicks are what got me off chewing tobacco. So for a little backstory, because people ask me, what's up with the toothpicks, man?
Why do they care about your toothpicks so much?
They ask a lot, like, why do
they care?
I'm like, well, I used to chew tobacco, which you remember those days. I was always spitting and shit, and it was gross. And so these got me off it. They're mint flavored, they're fantastic, and I enjoy them.
They are enjoyable, and you're the guy. Like people occasionally are like, I need a toothpick, and Kevin's always like, I got your back on this.
I got you covered.
I got the pick handy.
If you need a toothpick, I got you covered. But it's part of my thing.
But amazing people, man. Like, and it's been cool because I feel like we've been authentic. Like we really don't play characters on the mic. There's a level of mic etiquette and being professional enough.
There's certain things we won't say on mic.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of mic etiquette,
sure.
Right? But we've been ultimately pretty authentic, and it feels great to have people accepted us and want to be a part of this project.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful for everyone that we've shared our time with, and like people that we touched through our guests, and it's pretty remarkable what it became.
I know.
As we continued the project, but it was that showing up. Like if we didn't continue to show up every single week,
it would have fizzled out.
It's like working out. Like you could go. I saw this fat dude at the hotel that I was staying at, and like you could tell his wife was giving him like a hard time, and then he's like, "I exercised." That's the only sentence I heard.
Okay.
And he's like sitting there with a cane and everything. Like
he's an older gentleman.
Yeah, so maybe in his 50s or something. Like not super old, but like obviously you didn't continue to exercise. So it's just like that kind of shift of like, oh, I recorded a podcast. Like you started a podcast and did it for 2 months.
Right. We see a lot of that.
You know what I'm saying? And like in the 6.5 years we've been doing this,
a lot of come and
we've seen so many come and go, and like, and like we're still here kicking it DCPC style, baby. Yeah. For the people.
And then, obviously DCPC paved the way. As we always say, all roads lead back to DCPC, which they do. And that's when it became Discussion Combustion Production. And we started taking these other programs under the umbrella. Mash the Gas was launched with Jeff Davis and myself in 2021. That show is just on fire right now. I mean,
that's awesome.
We're doing so fantastic, and some of the accolades that we're receiving. And with Sky, bringing her on this year was one of the best decisions that Jeff kind of had to sell me on.
Yeah.
I'm not. It wasn't so much bringing somebody. It was just I've been through a third co-host before. Right, and so I was very cautious of doing it again.
Yeah.
I'll say it gingerly, but it was probably the best decision that program ever saw.
I mean, she's bringing fresh energy in.
Yeah, she's great.
She has passion for the sport. She consumes her spare time with projects that align with it. So
she's a hustler.
I've never really talked to Sky, but if she's listening here, like, you got my support with the project. And Mash the Gas was never my project, but you've
guest hosted.
I have guest hosted, and I've always been a major supporter of it, because here's the thing: once you start rooting for your friends and people to win, then you are also creating that success energy in your life. So I don't understand that when people like want to see people fail.
I don't either.
So it's like that's no space for that here.
Paul Roseberry said it best. Another 2-time guest on this program. Paul Roseberry is fantastic. I'm probably going to rattle off a couple names throughout the catalog for however long this episode goes.
Yeah.
But Paul Roseberry, he made a quote or a comment that always stuck with me, and it's a general psychology piece that people will pull others down to the floor so that they can stand taller than them. And I think that piggybacks off why people like to watch other people go through hard times. Going through a divorce, losing a house, losing a job, having a tough time. It's like, people are going to support you. Your true friends are going to show up during those times. But I've seen it so many times in my adult life where people almost get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Serves them right.
And
that's unfortunate.
When people celebrate stuff like that, it's because their situation isn't so hot.
Right.
And, so you don't even have to worry about them because they're already kind of living in like their own version of hell.
Sure.
And so it's like I pay no mind to it.
It's good.
And one thing that made me think of was overthinking. And I sometimes overthink the projects, overthink what we're doing, overthink my day job, my relationships, how I act, how do I maintain, like all this shit.
That's normal.
And so one mentality that I came up with probably within the last 3 months was, well, where am I at right now? And is everything okay? Yes. Well, then it didn't matter how much I thought about anything. It all worked out regardless. And so like all this overthinking stuff, like it's interesting because it's helped me simplify my mind in a lot of ways doing this project, and it helped accelerate in my day job, like my performance on what I do there too, and it's like therapy. And I even did like the short series Raw Talk.
That was a good show.
That was over a year ago.
Still on this channel.
Yep, still on the channel. It gave me a place to vent, and like that couch you're sitting on is where I recorded that. And I had some like intimate 10 episodes where I really dived into specific subjects and just went off for like 10 to 15 minutes on these things. And, it's just giving me such a space to like try to help people, And even though we've been dumbasses a lot on here,
more times
and like
than not,
goofed off, because it shouldn't all be serious, but it's good to like be able to talk about the serious subjects. And that's what's fun about DCPC, because it's a space for all that. Like you could talk about what Jamie's talking about,
on the Christmas special,
kind of vulgar stuff. And then,
then
we come in the next week and we're talking with the AI data specialist and stuff. So it's like, you don't know what you're going to get.
No, you don't. And I think that's kind of a good thing. The most common question we get out in the world is, well, what's it about? What do you guys talk about? And that's to be understood. When we got into this in 2019, this market wasn't as saturated as it is now. It was becoming, right? Everybody was jumping on, like kind of when we were jumping on the train as it was leaving. And, some folks have probably a little bit of a better celebrity following, or maybe celebrity funding even, that are able to kind of cross different thresholds. You and I have kind of had to do grassroots approach to this whole project.
Yeah.
Not necessarily door knocking, but hanging shit on telephone poles and the sticker campaign and growing this to what it is. It was a challenge.
Well, yeah, and honestly, like I feel like I said I was going to buy those stickers like 8 months ago, and I never bought them, and so that's my bad on the ground campaign, because it's like little things like that, going to networking events and handing out stickers and just
something
getting
tangible.
The name out there. John Ekstrom is an excellent podcaster out here in Colorado, and he said a line that will always stick with me. He's like, you created a monster, and
feed it.
and it's always hungry.
Yeah.
And he like described creating a podcast and like doing stuff on that level, and it really resonated with me because it's true.
Yep.
Like you could always do something for the show. You could always do something
Absolutely.
to try to build the brand.
That's any brand though, not just entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, and I think about that too on some of my downtime. Like, what can I do for the show right now? And I'm not the biggest social media guy. I think everyone knows that. I mean, someone was asking me, how come you're not on your Instagram? My last post on there was in like 2021 on my personal one. It's just not my thing. You know, I use it as a tool to get our stuff out there. You know, we cut some promo clips, try to get people involved. But the world's changing, you know, and when we first got into this, the way we did promo is different than it is now.
Yeah.
Right? People want their information faster. They could take our episode, put it through AI, and then AI will analyze everything you and I have just talked about, and they're like, okay, cool, don't need to listen.
Yeah.
Right?
That takes the fun out of it, though.
I agree.
You know, either you like the process or you don't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this business continues to progress, because we've talked about there already is AI podcasts.
Well, dude, this is how they progress it. They have like this clips of us or themselves, and then they have our face analyzed by an AI, and then they go through and record their own voice recording into the AI so it knows how you speak. You say all the different syllables, words, and all this sort of stuff. And then from there, you could just give it a prompt, and then it would like make the entire podcast based off a prompt, use our face, our voice likeness, and then you could just release like that.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
It's going to be too uncanny though.
It is going to be uncanny, and it takes the authenticity right out of it.
And honestly, that's lame. Like, there's a lot of great use cases for AI, but the second that you remove the critical thinking behind creating and actually like experiencing life, like then you are an NPC.
Yes.
Basically, like you're not even thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we already have some NPCs walking amongst us, but you know, I think the hard part for AI is going to be you can't manifest personality yet. I haven't seen AI be able to do like it just, for example, if I'm doing a sales call, AI is not quite able to do it yet. Sure, it can say, hey, you should buy this because of these reasons, but it takes the human element out of it. Hey, let me take you to lunch. Let's make a deal, right?
Yeah.
And that's why sales is kind of AI proof for now. I don't know what this thing's going to look like in 10 years.
I mean, that's definitely like a whole subject within itself, you know.
It's going to be an ongoing subject.
Well, and it is a little bit concerning too, and I wish sometimes that it was like it was back in the day.
Sure.
You know, but that just means that I'm getting older. But I don't consider myself old. Like, I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the middle. I know I'm in like my golden years. I'm fully aware of it, and I'm enjoying the shit out of it. And like this project and talking with people, I same thing with swimming. I don't always want to go for a swim, but I always am happy when I did it. I don't always want a podcast, but I'm always happy when I did it, except for once or twice. But you know,
yeah, it's always rewarding for sure. And I love when the guest is super excited when we're done, like, and just about the whole thing. Like, this is amazing, you know, thank you, and that part of it is like the reward. You know, because for folks that don't know this, we don't charge anything and we don't pay anything for guests.
People like ask us.
Yeah, we don't do that because we still believe in the old school way. Like, that's the new school way of podcasting. Oh, you got to pay to be on the show, or I'll pay you to be a guest. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I understand there's a market for that because people want a targeted audience, and if you have to pay for that, you got to pay for that. But we've never done that, and I would like to say I never will do that.
I mean, if somebody wanted to pay me to go on their show and they just approached us like that, I'd probably be like,
pay us to go on their show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like they just offer it to us.
That's a little different, but to pay to go on the show is what I mean.
So here's the thing, like I wouldn't say you need to pay me to go on to your show. I would be like, hell yeah, I'll go on your show. But if someone just like it was part of the offer, I'd be like, well, shit, like I'll take that and still go on the show.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to pay someone to come on our show.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, or charge someone to come on our show.
Or ask them to pay us.
Right. That's kind of, because we've gotten that a lot. People are like, well, how much you guys charge? Like, we only charge for podcast production.
Yeah, like, you know, we can help produce a podcast and we can record a podcast.
Right.
And we can give you the MP3 and MP4 and charge you for that.
Right.
But that's like getting paid to do work.
That's work. That's kind of the business side of where the production company went.
Yeah.
Right. Because as we progress through the storyline here, that we really didn't start getting into the production work until the old studio. which I still miss that studio sometimes. I mean, I love where we're at now.
Yeah.
We're still relatively close to downtown Denver, and not that we were any closer to downtown over there, but it was just that, DTC is a different vibe.
It was really cool, man.
It was a great 2 years over there.
It was a lot of fun,
I partied probably the hardest I've ever partied in my life in those 2 years.
I was getting rowdy raw.
I was, yeah.
Unaccountable Kev.
Unaccountable Kev, kick it with K-Bat.
Yeah, man, a blast. It's been a blast. And like, honestly, the podcast was the greatest conversation starter, You go out and talk to anybody and you'd be like, hey, do you listen to podcasts? And either they'd say yes or no. And then either way, like, the conversation would start opening up. And it just became this way to, like, that's one thing that podcasting taught me, too, is, like, whenever I'm trying to talk to a stranger, I don't ask people, what do you do for work? I ask people, what is your perfect weekend? And then, like, that way you actually get to know somebody. People show up to their jobs to make money. It's something they have to do. What do you want to do? And that's, like, helped me change how I even talk to people.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of skills that can come out of talking to people weekly. Guests have taught me a lot, too, whether it's podcast etiquette or just a way of thinking or, something I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. I've learned a ton of information from our guests.
Well, okay, so what was a bombshell that, like, just quick, what was it? One major thing that you're like, oh.
Well, I think a couple weeks ago when we had Shelly Bernine on, I think that's life-changing for people that have kids going through high school that can also get a college degree congruently. I think that's life-changing information.
That is life-changing. That was bombshell.
I mean, we've had a lot of influence on here, with the AI tech stuff, kind of balancing out your choices for your business. And it's been interesting to see over the last 6 years the entrepreneurs that have come on and kind of where the focus is going. From what it was to what it, musicians are musicians, comedians, that's all relatively still the same. But overall, marketing strategy, business strategy, digital strategy, it's all changed with this AI stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
kind of bringing it full circle, and I don't think Brant's listening to this one, but if he is getting warmed up for next week,
it's going to be a banger.
Then he actually helped teach me the lesson of it doesn't matter how many followers somebody has. When you share the couch with somebody, when you share microphones and you hit that red record button, everyone's the same. And so that's one thing that podcasting really taught me was that it didn't matter what someone's job title was or if they were an owner or president. It didn't matter because it really taught me while communicating with people that, like, actually we're all the same.
We're all the same, yeah.
And so, like, once you start, it helped me look at everybody as my equal. And I think that's a great way to approach reality because then, you kind of have more confidence because everyone is your equal. But then you're also humble because if someone's doing worse for you, they are also your equal. So
yeah, it's
like this interesting perspective that I gained by talking to people, and I was getting nervous when Brant was about to come on. I was like, oh, this is a big guest, That
was one of our first big guests.
So I was getting nervous to talk to him, celebrities. We were starting to talk to some celebrities for the first time.
Yeah.
Two technically nobodies, you and I, trying to make our way in it. And so having those type of conversations definitely gave me a new layer of confidence to interact with everybody. Like, it didn't matter who you are.
Well, I think you kind of have to be that way to be successful in this business, for sure, on the long term. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to get used to, like on the Mash the Gas side, for example, when Jeff and I you were there you were there when we were interviewing Steve Phelps, president of NASCAR.
I was the videographer.
Yeah, so, we have to be...
That was fun.
all that kind of, at least for me, I can't speak for Jeff. Jeff's really grown a lot in his podcasting career. But for me, it goes back to when I met Jeff Gordon in 2017. As a fan. This was before I was a podcaster. This was right around the time I got into being a musician. And when I met Jeff Gordon, because that was like my hero of heroes, right? He was my guy. And now I had this opportunity to spend the afternoon with him in this VIP experience. And from that day on, I never pedestalized anybody else ever again as far as like, oh, that person's amazing. Like I'm starstruck or whatever. I never had it again. There were some moments in this show's history where I knew we had a huge opportunity with a big guest per se. And so that part would make me nervous because it's like, okay, well, we got to be dialed here. The content needs to be tight.
Yeah.
I want to be on my best performance. Of course, I was drinking then too, so that was questionable.
So I guess the mental shift for me is like, instead of like romanticizing who they are, what they accomplish, and like pedestalizing them.
Right.
It's more like, oh man, I'm actually just really interested because you do some cool things. Like, let's talk about it. And it's been so fun to talk about all these cool things that people do. Like we've talked to Nature, Great Car Bridges.
She's coming back next month.
Going and shooting in like the Amazon and stuff. And
incredible.
And like the
Kylie Burse.
Who was our guy that was the bike rider all the time?
Oh,
it starts with like a D, I think.
The bike rider.
And he lives in Boulder.
Oh yeah. Ryan Van Duzer.
Yeah, Ryan Van Duzer.
He was on Out of the Wild on Discovery Channel.
Dude was super cool, man. Having the obviously David Rush.
David Rush was great.
The list goes on.
John Rinke from Tiger King. That was a big moment for us.
That was super cool. And like honestly, we have like kind of the professional like network friendship with a lot of these people.
Yeah. Kylie's coming back.
It's just because we've been good. We've stayed authentic, and we always tried to do our best to help people like where we could, and we cared to have their messages heard. It really went a long way. Like the Denver rap community, like we're in with a bunch of those folks, and it's just a wide variety, and it's just been like it's normal for you and I to show up every week. Who we got on this week? Right. We're meeting strangers, sitting on the couch.
300 times.
But when I stop and think about it, it's actually pretty cool. Because we have all these people that we could reach out to, and they respect us enough to get back. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and the opportunities that come from it. Mm-hmm. The different networking things we've been invited to. I mean, we didn't even touch on the Hell's Kitchen series, the Summer Sizzle series that we kicked off, where we had.
That was your idea, the Summer Sizzle series.
That was fantastic.
This guy's coming up with shit.
No, that was a really good series. We had Chef Corey on, who won Hell's Kitchen. Mm-hmm. We had Chef Trenton on, who won. We had Cody Candelario, who's done amazing things on the Food Network and also was on Hell's Kitchen. He sat right on this seat. We went to his networking event. He was
so tired.
He was exhausted. He had so much media to do. Like when he got here,
nonstop.
He got here and he was just like, "This is the last thing I got to do."
I'm surprised he even showed up. He's getting after it.
He had great message in that one though. I still remember the promo clip because that was like when the grit movement started.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You know what? You're gonna want to quit. You're gonna feel tired. You're gonna want to throw in the towel. It's too hard. You want to pat yourself on the back." But he goes, "You know what? You got to keep fucking going."
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
It's so true.
And that's that critical. It's so tough for some people though, man. You think about financial obligations. Some folks have kids involved. There's other things that pull people away from their passion project, and they have to make sacrifices.
But that's the thing. Like, sure, there's only 24 hours in a day. We got 7 days in a week until as many days as we don't know.
Yep.
But the thing is if it's really important to you, you will make time
that is
for
true.
it.
No, that's true.
And if you sacrifice personal happiness for outside things, you do that long enough, you're going to get depressed. You're going to feel unfulfilled.
Absolutely.
So, like, there's a critical importance to making time for yourself, And like, you're the number one priority. Like, Kevin Batstone's number one priority. Arthur's, whoever you are the number one priority. Because if you haven't taken care of yourself, who was talking about the glass being full? That was like a Sean Antonio referral.
Yeah, filling up the cup. So he had, was it Nina?
I think it may have been Nina. And she was talking about, making sure that the glass is full, and then and it's not selfish, because then once your overflow begins to occur, then other people then you can fill other cups. But you had to fill your own glass first.
True.
So it's like this whole mentality of like,
it's actually a life lesson.
It's actually not selfish to take care of it. Like, it's important.
You have to be able to take care of yourself to be that rock and movable mountain that your peers and your significant other need, even your family.
And podcast is one of those things for me, man.
Podcast is one of those things.
Showing up and being able to express myself, and I hope to continue to help others, with their journey by being vulnerable and open about my own.
Yeah.
Like, that's bigger than me. Like, that's more important than Arthur Raw.
It is.
And to be able to participate and be a part of that, like, it really does fill my soul, and it makes me a better, like, husband, son, friend, coworker, like, across the board.
Yeah, it all kind of ties together for sure. It's helped me in the day job. It's helped me with my other podcasts. It's helped me in a lot of ways. Just the having to be punctual and having to be buttoned up and ready to go. Ready to do a show. This one's a lot easier than most, especially a solo like this.
Oh yeah,
like zero prep. It's just zero preparation. You just hit the button, and whatever happens, happens. But we don't do these very often.
No, we haven't
done
a
once
solo
a year,
in a long time.
Twice a year max.
Yeah, we used to do it like once a month. We had a schedule.
We would always schedule one solo a month. That was kind of the old ways. But yeah, so then Summer Sizzle series. We met Sean Antonio, who is fantastic. It reminds me, I got to text him when we're done. because anytime I think of him, he usually reaches out to us first. But
I hit him up the other day.
did you? I'm gonna hit him up.
Yeah, well, the other day, like last month.
Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on our program twice, both on Zoom. We're trying to get him into Denver. Big out in the LA scene. He's a huge life coach. Just a great guy. I mean, the amount of people he sent our way, and like he believes in our program, and that's really been the cool part. Like, okay, and even Dan Steiner, his story that got out, or that he heard from Dan Cross, who was on our program. I know the viewers don't know what I'm talking about, but there's just been these like serendipitous moments out in the wild where people are like, oh, and they're connecting the dots, and we've like reunited people.
Combustion.
It's pretty wild.
What the hell?
And yeah,
it's almost surreal, and it's just because you decided to ask me one day to record our conversations. Like that's basically.
Well, at that time, I was
basically what it was.
I was seeing what was going on, in the podcast market. And I'm like, this is. I don't want to say it's easy, but Arthur and I could do this. It would be the right personalities.
It's easier than making music. And it's a wider net. It's kind of a wider net.
Because a lot of musicians are very recluse and they don't want to talk, as we've seen demonstrated.
That's actually true. Like we get musicians on and they kind of lock up. Not all.
So the front men are usually very outgoing. They want the attention, of course. And I was a front man for the Ridge Runners, so that checks out. But the fact remains is the creativity piece. It's like you've worded it that it scratches the same itch, which it kind of does, right? We get to tinker, we got to edit, we got to do levels, we got to polish it up, and we're putting it out. Like we're excited about this product, of this conversation that we had. No edits, keeping it real.
I like that.
I think that's the other thing we learned in this business after crossing paths with a few. Like, oh, you got to take care of that weird or get this out of there.
Get that out of here.
It's just, to me, that removes the authenticity piece of it. If you want it too buttoned up, I understand if you're a company and you have an episode series that you want completely tailored to your product, service, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a different market for that type of podcast. But this type of shit, like, shout out Damon Rorick, right? He's gonna listen to this. Younger brother of the man who helped make this show possible, Jamie, who he hates when we say that. Damon says
he never wants any credit.
Damon's got a long drive from where he lives to work, and he'll throw us on. He's like, man, I'll just listen to you guys on the ride home because by the time it's done, I'm home.
Super solid.
So that's fun. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Are you listening to us on YouTube? Or I should say, are you watching us on YouTube? Are you listening to us on your drive? Because I know a lot of folks just like to listen still, Art. The video stuff we pushed heavily, which some say was a mistake. I disagree with that statement.
Some say, but do they do?
But do they do? It's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, and the amount of noise that you and I have heard over the years of, oh, you guys should do this, or you should have this, or do it this way. If I was doing it, I would do it that way. It's like, well, you're not doing it, so appreciate what you have to say, but not going to happen.
Yeah, I like to hear what people have to say, and I'll always give them the appreciation for caring enough to let me know what they think.
That's probably the best way to describe it, the nicest way.
It's like, dude, we've definitely been through some shit with this.
Oh.
And
yeah.
Like it's been so much fun. Like I honestly don't know where it's going to go next. I do feel like we're kind of at somewhat of a precipice of where we're very regular, pretty routine, and like something has to break to where it's different for us. Like, sure, we record and the product kind of goes out the same, but like on the back end, like, and we've tried to make changes here and there, but I do feel like, we are on the precipice of fully becoming recognized in the podcast industry.
We already are.
As like,
more locally, but
more local, but like, where people are like trying to get us on and stuff.
Sure.
But it's interesting because like we've already mentioned, like I feel extremely successful with this project.
Sure.
Extremely successful, but we weren't celebrities coming into it. We're not mega millionaires coming into it. And so like there is kind of this club that like we have to break the wall of, and like I wonder how that opportunity looks when it presents itself, and like, what do we do? Because we've talked about like if someone asked us to sell out and promote a certain thing and not speak freely, and it's kind of interesting to think about that. I don't know what's on the horizon, but I'm still here. I'm still DCPC. Like I'm still good to go.
Yeah, I think something's about to happen, which is going to be good. I think the 300 series is we kind of just went through the whole storyline though. Each 100, if you will, the hundreds, the 200s, now 300s had its own timeline and growth and opportunity to develop within it. And I guess that's anything when you stick with it long enough.
Well, and we've matured at 300s. We'll be not drinking at all during the episodes because we were definitely getting down to the 200s.
Yeah, I think.
But not for the entirety.
Around 248, I think, was the last time I had a drink on the air, which was great. That was a big for me. I remember I did on Happy Friday at first, and I remember you were like looking at me like, okay, Kev's not going to drink on this app. That was the first time. I still remember it. I was like, am I going to suck? Is this going to be rough? It is what it is, but I think I'm sharper and better because of it. But so you're right. So 300s is more. It's more of a sober series now. Sober conversations, with even with our guests. Like, sure, our guests can bring beverages if they choose to.
Yeah, sure.
But we used to always be offering guests. We'd be getting them a little loose,
drinking
getting
like
tipsy.
7 beers.
At least.
Yeah.
At least I would.
Well, and even beyond just alcohol, like if I do smoke or like do edibles prior, it does sacrifice my quality on the mic.
Sure.
And so even
all of it.
I try to be light with that stuff when I know I have to record because there's a certain level that you got to maintain here.
Sure.
And just because you have been maintaining doesn't guarantee you will this time. You got to stay vigilant.
Choice is yours, man, on how you want to show up and show out. But, some good stuff coming, Art. I think, we can't really talk about it yet, but we will off mic.
Yeah.
But that's, that could be what we need.
Hey, all I know is that anything in life comes through constantly showing up for it.
Yes.
And I know I've talked about this 1,000 different ways, 1,000 different times, but if you are addicted to alcohol or overeating and all this shit, it didn't just happen overnight. You were consistent to getting to the horrible state that you're in right now. Or I used to be consistent in getting into the horrible state I was with pills to where my car was repoed, the whole 9 yards, everything I already covered 1,000 times.
Sure.
So it's like consistency is happening regardless.
Whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, and it does have an end result. And working out frequently, showing up to the podcast weekly, checking in with my wife to make sure our relationship is strong and it's open and like good communication. Like it's all these consistencies that have led to a life of like, I feel blessed, I feel fortunate, but it didn't just happen.
Yeah.
Like I've been putting in the work on this. You've been putting in the work on your stuff. We like to keep it fun and light here, but like deep down, like I'm really feeling like a warrior in the darkness and the light and like a beacon of light. And it's only because I chose to find it. And like I kept pushing to do that and pushing myself to continue to try. And this project, as fun and as easy as the end result looks, like there's a lot of energy that goes behind making the studio right, scheduling, and like having your own self-worth to feel like you can keep showing up, like you're worthy to carry this baton, And so like I just have to embed that strength to anyone that's watching or listening right now, because like you got to keep showing up for yourself.
You do. No, it's important because no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to pick you up and carry you across the finish line. In some instances, maybe people ride coattails and can piggyback, but generally speaking, that's not going to be the way to.
It only gets you so far. The coat wears.
The coattail is going to rip off, and then what? Then you think you're in the promised land, but now you got to start over, and it can be a whole mess. So hard work, consistency always pays off. I think that's been our message for years. Consistent quality content, as we say. And for the listeners and viewers tuning in right now, I'm hoping that the audio sounds tremendously better than previous DCPCs, because we discovered a feature here on this lovely computer that records this podcast, and we disabled it. And hopefully that's making this audio sound a lot better.
It's way more crisp.
And that's the type of stuff we're always trying. Like, how can we? Why is this not right? Let's get better here. There's always improvements to be made on everything we do.
Yeah.
Whether it's equipment, whether it's our lifestyle, whether it's our professional, personal, all of it. Adjustments can be made.
And sometimes I just love me that good old off day. So if you can take a day to do nothing after you've been earning it for weeks, then take a day, do nothing. Like, oh man,
I'm ready for vacay though, for sure. I mean, it's going to be super busy in New Hampshire for folks that don't know or forgot, and I really shouldn't be putting it out there too much because I don't have the time to see everybody. The people I'm going to see already know who you are. Obviously, my sweetie Crystal, I'll be there. We're going to have a blast at the NASCAR race. I'm super looking forward to it, but vacation. Like, I'm not going to podcast that week at all. I'm not doing Master Gas. I won't do DCPC. If you want to run it, that's on you. Because I've done.
Maybe I'll come in here to do like a raw talk style.
Yeah, I've done some shows when you were out of town or whatever. So get creative, have fun with it. But yeah, the downtime. I'm glad you had fun in Vancouver with your dad.
Oh man,
the pictures and videos look really cool.
We've made lifelong memories. Anyone that I told that I was doing this father-son trip that we ran into, coworkers, friends, it just melted everybody's hearts.
Yeah.
And like,
nice.
it really did mean a lot. It really did mean a lot. Man, like,
Good memory.
I could just, you know, and that's the thing too. Like sometimes, you know, you just, you handle your business enough so then you can have decent enough credit so then you can get a credit card and book flights and book a hotel once a year and then pay that bitch off and eliminate your interest, because we only live once. We'll get another paycheck. We won't get another day back.
It's true.
So that's kind of how I look at that.
Balance.
And like I learned that from Craig.
Sure.
Who's been on multiple times.
Yeah, Craig Christopherson, shout out.
He kind of gave me that mentality, man. And I don't ever regret taking a trip. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's that fine line between, you know, you don't know, tomorrow's never promised.
Yeah.
Right? Can't take it with you type stuff. I've always kind of envied people that are like drifters. Not that I would ever want that lifestyle of like couch surfing and not knowing. I need a little more security than that. I want to know where I live.
The mystery's fun.
The mystery's fun. People I'll just figure it out. I'll just go with it.
Yeah.
To me, I like a little bit more stability with that. But there's a balance between that mentality and, yeah, tomorrow's never promised, so go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go eat that expensive dinner. Go take that trip to wherever. Do it. Make it happen. You know, you'll go make more money tomorrow. You know,
Hopefully.
Money's tough for a lot of people. I mean, I want to be obviously cognizant of the folks that maybe can't afford to do that, but there is always a way. There's always a way.
There's always a way. You got to avoid the traps, and you know, that this episode's not about talking about all that type of stuff too much, but
no,
yeah,
we did that last 2 weeks ago.
We got to stay vigilant, man.
Yep.
And really,
Yeah.
for me, like sometimes I don't want to show up, but I'm always happy I do. Like I said earlier, and you know, be part of something bigger than yourself. I think is really important for human psychology and happiness, because we're all great individually and we can all be amazing alone, but once you actually start to be a part of something larger than yourself and you realize that you're making a contribution, that right there is like feeling alive, and it's undescribable.
It is.
Like, it's hard to even describe like what that kind of feeling feels like, what it means, and like how humbling it is. And yeah, man, Discussion Combustion. It brought all this to my doorstep, or I brought all this to its doorstep. Yeah, you know, because we kept showing up. However you want to say it.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where we thought about not continuing it.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's crossed both of our minds. I'm glad we stuck with it through the hard times. You know, between the personal life, balancing all that, and the shit that I went through, the shit you went through. I mean, those are the type of times, you know, where tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Yeah, a lot of people quit.
A lot of people quit.
In those scenarios.
Don't quit, have grit, baby. That's you got to have that grit to get through it. But yeah, I mean, just piggybacking off of your statement to the people, you know, because obviously 300 Part 1 we know was, what's the best way to describe it? I don't want to say controversial, because I don't think it was. It was a conversation about topics that make people uncomfortable.
Well, and some of those topics are not rooted in reality, but the skepticism is understood.
Yeah, and I think,
you know,
yeah. So the takeaway, I think, is whether it's Brant Tobler next week, whether it's Mike Patchin talking about controversy, it's a conversation. It's a piece of the portfolio. It's something that's shared. Take from it what you will. Like, everything we put out doesn't mean we 100% stand behind a message behind it, right? I stand behind what I say on mic because I'm only responsible for what I have to say.
Yeah.
You know, we stand behind our word. And so with that, I think it piggybacks and reiterates to folks that they need to create their own reality. Don't take someone else's opinion and make it yours. You know, my advice is to turn off the fake news, because I think it's poison. I think it's mind poison. That's my opinion. Maybe you enjoy the fake news. I don't know. And just make good decisions for yourself. Surround yourself with the right people, like we talked about. You know, have your homies, have the people you love, get some good food, and that's what you can control. There's so much negativity out there. I've been pulled into it. It's always around us. The death scrolls, the fear mongering, these whatever's going on with these protests. Like, there's always something pulling people to be opinionated about it, and that's fine. You know, I'm not one of those people that buries my head in the sand or advocates for it. But I think recently I'm just kind of stepping back from it all. You know, I was pretty engaged with it a little bit, you know, mainstream politics and the election last year and all that stuff, and it did me no good.
Yeah.
Right? Just like when I gave up mainstream media in 2015, around that time, I stopped watching it. Best decision I ever made. So once again, I'm just stepping back from all that.
Yeah, let's keep it simple.
Yep.
Keep it simple is the philosophy. Believe and achieve is a mindset.
Certainly is.
Let her rip tater chip is an action.
That's going back to episode 1.
And man, I'm happy to be cheersing some non-alcoholics,
Some
but here's to 300 more.
300 more, brother.
All right.
And beyond.
Here's to 300 more and beyond.
And beyond.
You know, let's go. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this, being a part of Kevin and I's journey. It's an honor to have you listen and participate, and I feel humbled to be able to share my experiences and have it be heard. So, believe and achieve, man. That's my conclusion on this one. 300, Kev, what do you want to say?
Well, I got to go with the classic, man. Let her rip, tater chip, of course. That's trademarked by Cletus McFarland. That's not mine. I always I'm not taking credit for that. I just like to find quotes and reuse them as every motivational person does. But be good to yourselves. Thanks for supporting us. We'll see you on Happy Friday.